time. The timing is everything, as we know, and we are going to start our first seeds to put outside in our garden today. Hopefully, if everything's not frozen. I'm in coastal North Carolina and it is 34 degrees and not happy about it, but that's okay. So let's see if everything's frozen, and if not, we're gonna do a little fertilizing and get things moving in the right direction. Just to get another cold, this is supposed to be the last cold night for a while, and the greenhouse hasn't been too bad, but the rest of the garden has. And so what I'm doing is I am watering deeply so that it can insulate the roots a little bit. You know, we've been running the irrigation out in the garden for a while now. I took the timers off to protect them because I'm tired of breaking timers. I do it every year, and it should make a difference. So we're gonna just water it down and keep it going, and then after that, I'm gonna go start those seeds and get them going, because the way I'm looking at it is I want to get them in somewhere between the middle of, as a pretty wide range, but the middle of January to the middle of February. And so as of right now, we are 6 weeks out, less than 6 weeks out from the middle of January. And that's really a pipe dream. You know, we can only hope and pray for that. But I think the beginning of February is a realistic number. And that puts us right at, I don't know, 8 weeks roughly. So that should be pretty good timing. And it'll be really easy to take care of them right now. But as we step up and we get closer and they get bigger, it's going to get more and more difficult. So we just really need to watch the weather and gauge. And we're getting a nice warm up next week. So I'm going to go ahead and use it as an opportunity, because my seed shelf isn't quite ready. So I don't have to put them inside right now. You know how I know it's early? Because nothing is prepared for this at all. I really need to take some time and get the leaves cleared out and everything, but whatever. So what are we starting here? We're gonna do a couple standards, and then we're gonna do something new for this time of year. So the first one we're gonna grow is Waltham broccoli. So most of these seeds are what we sell. If you see the green tags, it's what we sell in our seed shop. Link is below if you want to get some. But I really like this broccoli, so we're going to grow it. It is an heirloom variety, so I can save the seed if I want, anything like that. And then I'm going to start some early Dutch brown cabbage. So this is, it's a slow grower, but it gets pretty big. So that's what I want. I want to try and get some bigger heads this year, which is why we're starting them now, because they need a lot of time. And then we're actually gonna, I usually don't do this, but I'm gonna pre-start some spinach. We're gonna do this year just so we can have it ready. It is very cold hardy, but since we have all the covers out there, we can go ahead and utilize them if we need to, because it looks like, I don't know quite yet. Hopefully by the next video, we'll kind of get an idea of how the garden's fared through all this. And then one that we're going to take a chance on is I've got these Napa cabbage seeds that I saved. I've never harvested a Napa cabbage. I grew them one year. They went straight to bolt because I planted them late, because that was the recommendation. And I got so many seeds. It was really big, but it just didn't get, like, I just couldn't harvest it. So we're going to try again, but I'm going to plant it 2 months earlier than I did before, which should eliminate that bolting issue that we had. I've never really had cabbage bolt on me necessarily, but this Napa cabbage absolutely did. So the first thing I need to do is figure out how many seeds to start. I did bust out one tray, but it looks like as I lay the seeds out, I'm gonna need a couple more. I'm not gonna grow too many of these Napa cabbages. I'll probably only start one row of them, and even then we probably still won't utilize them all. But we're gonna do a lot of these, so it's gonna probably be 2 trays. And to be honest, if you're starting spinach, I mean, this is a 50 cell tray. I think I called them 64 in the last video. They're 50. 50 plants is not much for spinach. You cook some spinach and I mean, you can cook like 2 pounds of it and get like a tablespoon. So we kind of need to plan out what we're doing here. And looking at the garden, we've got a couple options. So the garlic will be in this bed. I think this may actually be a good candidate for the spinach. It's just, it can bolt really fast. So, you know, come spring, it can go either way. So we're going to take advantage of that. and say, hey, I think we're gonna go ahead and put the spinach in here because this bed is basically done. You can see these rutabaga plants are almost done, and we've got some rutabagas to harvest, so we'll have to come back and double check and see what we got. But if we do a row of spinach here, you can fit 60 to 70 plants in one 8-foot row. I mean, you know, one tray is almost not enough for, did I say that right? If it's 8, yeah, because it's about 4 per square foot, so 32. So you can put 32 in a row. I guess one tray of spinach will do good, and then the rest we can just split up for the others. And for the broccoli as well, what I want to do is I got to look and see. So as of right now, these 2 beds are out of the question for broccoli. This bed's out of the question because it's got cabbage. This bed will be utilized because it's got the Brussels sprouts in it. So this one is a candidate. This is actually the only real candidate as of right now, until I get those other beds moved, and then we can put them in those. So we're just gonna say, hey, we're gonna put it in here for now, in case for some stupid reason I don't get that stuff moved. Kind of hard to get motivated when it's freezing cold, but we'll get it. It's not a big deal. But at least we have a bed in you know, that we're gonna do. We're gonna do a full bed of it. So we're looking at 32 broccoli for that bed. I'm probably gonna go a little bit less. I'll probably do 28, just to give it a little bit extra space. Yeah. 28, so we'll remove 1 plant from each row. The cabbage, so it looks like we'll be able to do, we're gonna do 25 of each. So it's gonna cut it close, but that'll give us 2 trays. And then, I don't know what we're gonna do about the Napa cabbage. I gotta figure it out, man. Sometimes, I may actually just, you know what, I think I'm just gonna do a 6-pack and then call it good, because I don't really wanna grow a whole lot of Napa cabbage. You know, 6 cabbages will do us pretty good. So, and if we get a loss out of that, it doesn't matter to me if I get 4. I just want to try and grow it. It's not a big deal. I've been sitting out for the summer. Every time I go into it, I'm a little worried that there's going to be a rat in here. It would not make me very happy. And I'm actually going to save this plastic here that I'm cutting off, because I'm going to air layer a peach tree this year. And this plastic works really well for that, because if you flip it around, it'll warm the roots, and then it blocks the light, and it'll help it root better when I air layer it. So I'm gonna save this piece of plastic. Saving trash, that's what it's all about, right? Plus this has little micro holes in it, which helps it breathe, so it works out really good. What kind of self-respecting homesteader doesn't save trash? You know what I'm saying? Come on people. All right, so let's get this going. It's actually, this is the same process I do all the time, and I'll show it, but I'm not really going to discuss it. If you have questions, you can definitely let us know in the comments below. I use Perlite, not vermiculite, because I don't like vermiculite, so it holds too much water. So there's that. I'm going to go the easy route today. We're just going to dump it in. And I want to make sure that I get each, because I'm running low on soil, I just want to make sure that I get each one done before I move on to the next. If I had to absolutely choose which one to start first, I believe I would go with the cabbage first, just because it's a longer grow. But even the broccoli is long, so I wouldn't wait too much, and this soil is still a little bit frozen. That's always fun. But yeah, I would definitely pick the cabbages first, and I would very quickly do the broccolis. And so you may not be able to start at the same time as me, but you should be able to gauge where you are and your weather, and see if you can get them, you know, go back or forward by a month or so. You know, if you're in somewhere like Texas or Florida, you may have already kind of missed the boat a little bit. And if you're further north than me, you got time. Looks like we don't have enough to do the Napa cabbage. Totally heard about that, because truth be told, it probably needs to wait, even if it's just a week. We were going to use it as an option to put in the greenhouse, and we still may do that, but we're just going to wait. I don't have the soil, and I'm not going to rush to the store to get it, because Napa cabbage isn't high on the list, but I really do want to try it. And if there's anything you guys really want to try that you haven't had success with, let us know in the comments below, because I'm curious about what everybody is kind of itching to give a shot this year to grow. Let's talk about timing a little bit. You know, it's really important, and you know, that's what I talk about the most on here lately is timing, but it's really everything. Doesn't matter what you grow if you get it in the ground, you know, off season, or, I mean, I don't want to say the wrong time, but you know, anytime it's like way out of season or too early, way too early or way too late, it breeds issues. But so I'm in coastal North Carolina. Zone doesn't matter because we're not growing flowers right now for this sowing. So that's kind of is what it is. So I'm growing them now. I'm planting, let's just call it split the middle, and say February 15th we'll start them, or we'll plant them. Then if you are a little bit south of me, you know, the line is pretty crazy. You know, all the way down into, you know, Georgia and even North Florida is really about the same timeline, maybe a little bit earlier. And then if you move up it, you know, north, it starts to drop off pretty quick. I would say across the board though, if I had to give a date that was like, this is when you should, you know, when you're going to really start starting seeds. And when I say starting seeds, I mean basic stuff, you know, like this, not, you know, your crazy vegetables that you're trying from Siberia or anything like that, or, you know, some weird ass flower. I'm talking about like regular vegetables that we're going to grow in our gardens. Keep it simple. I would say really across the board by January, if you're not already seeding, you need to really be getting ready to, because, you know, if you think about it, 8 weeks, that's March 1st, and a lot of times our weathers are starting to warm up by then, so we can really do a lot with that. We're doing something like summer, like we're gonna do our summer plants and stuff like that later. I mean, we've got, what is that? That's, look, y'all about maybe let me mess up. Early Dutch cabbage. Those come in about February-ish, something like that. So, you know, and then after that, I mean, across the board, I would say by March, you really, you know, in the coldest of areas, you need to be doing that. The reason why we went with these plastic bags, look at that. Done. It's not going to spill in my pocket. You know how many times my wife's come to me and been like, you got so many seeds in your pocket, so much weird stuff. Well, there you go. I don't have weird stuff in there right now. So you can do that, and I would say, you know, and summer plants get started in a different order. There's orders in which to start plants, and for each season. And I would say typically we should be almost done with the bulk of our planting. There's stuff that we can re-sow and replant, but we should be done with the bulk of our planting, I'd say, or sowing, excuse me, sowing, not planting. I would say most people would be around April, you know, and by that time you should already have or be very, very close into getting plants in the ground. So, you know, you've got the time, but at the same time, you don't have a lot of time to waste. You know what I mean? And I've been accused of like pushing too hard, but really this is what works for me. And it's not the end of the world. You know, we want to get things in at the right time, and we want to get them harvestable so that we can in turn get another crop in the ground and get it for the summer season. You know, even though I personally enjoy growing in the spring, it's much easier on me and it's cooler. And it's not as beautiful as far as like the colors of the produce that you get, but I enjoy it. But the summer is the star of the show, right? And so when we do that, we know that we want to get stuff in the ground for summer and grow it, because summer is actually a lot longer. The seasons don't run like the calendar, right? So it's, you know, our summer, when's the first day of summer? June 21st, right? Is that right? That sounds right. We're gonna go with that. Our summer temperatures start almost in the May 1, they can start. And so we can already be growing in our summer season from then all the way till October. So it's a really long season. And our spring season isn't necessarily as long, but again, we're gonna start our plants in the ground in February. So February, March, April, May, that's 4 months. And by May, we will be pulling, if not most of these plants out. They will be bolted and they'll be ready for the next planting, absolutely for sure. So I put the perlite on top. If you're new to the channel or you don't know why I do this, I don't bury the seeds with the soil. I just make a divot with my finger, and you can see right here, then the perlite falls in. And the thing is the seeds can push up through it really easy because it's so light. And I've had really, really good success with this. So give it a try if you want. It's super simple. You just put the soil down, put a little divot in with your fingers, and then cover it back with the perlite, you know, and you just really make sure you get it in the hole. I used to put it on really, really thick, and I've kind of started to kind of test out and just kind of narrow it down a little bit. Super good deal on it, perlite a couple years ago, last year, and it's gonna last me a while. And so I mean, there's no point in wasting it, right? Now, it does go in the garden when we plant, so it adds drainage and stuff like that, which is nice. But look at that, it's gonna be cold again. One more night, which means I can't leave these out. So let's talk about heat for these vegetables that I started, so broccoli and cabbage. You don't really need to apply any bottom heat to it necessarily. It can help, but if you don't have one, like I don't have the ones that are regulated, they're very expensive. So what I do is I just don't add them, because if you can regulate them, then you can set the temperature really low and you can really boost the speed of your germination. But mine aren't, so they could actually overheat it. So I'm not really overly concerned about it. The temperature in the house with the combination of the lights will actually keep those seeds right around the perfect temperature for them to germinate, you know, the optimum. If it was a little bit warmer, it'd be a little bit faster. But again, we're not in a big rush right now. You know, that's why we're doing this. We can wait the average 7 to 10 days for those seeds to germinate. When we started them outside this year and it was in the 80s, they germinated in 2 days. And that's really nice, but I don't necessarily want that. So you know, you can time it out. I would rather just bank on like your average 7 to 10 day germination instead of waiting another, let's say 2 weeks and be like, I need 2 day germination. I need to do it now. Oh my gosh. So this just allows nature to take its course and to run naturally. And we're just going to kind of run with that and just keep the heat off of them for now. I typically don't use bottom heat for anything that's not a summer plant. So that's typically how I operate. If you're doing something like lettuce, you could maybe benefit from it, but I don't really need it. And if you don't know what a heat mat is, there's a link below in the Amazon page. Those are links to the exact stuff that I use in my garden and around my homestead. So if you need anything like that, it'll help us out. Very minimal, but it will help us out. And you know, there's heat mats and grow lights and all kinds of stuff in there. It's all the exact same stuff I use. So what I'll do now is I'll get those seeds. I'm gonna put a clear cover over them so that I can keep the humidity up, keep them well watered, and then I don't even need to turn lights on right now. So if I don't need lights on, I won't turn them on. And then in about 7 days, we'll start to get them. As soon as I see them, I'll pop the lights on. I may actually turn the lights on just to get a little bit of that heat from them, but otherwise you don't really need it until you start to see plants, because that's when the action starts.